Hello and a warm welcome to the show. Great to have your company. Coming up this show, it's been a tough week and a tough year, more to the point, for the magazine space. Pacific Magazine's Jackie Frank, though, saying at the Women in Style Awards she sees a bright future ahead. Plus, all the latest media headlines, including the media circus around Schapelle Corby's return down under. First off, though, 25 of the country's most senior media executives gathering overnight in Canberra to back the government's proposed changes to media regulations. The coalition vowing to scrap the 2 out of 3 rule that governs just which types of media can be owned by a company in any single market, as well as cutting broadcast licence fees, among a host of other changes. Well, the media boss is saying these changes are essential to compete in the digital age.
And rather than guaranteeing more voices are heard, our current rules are guaranteeing those voices will have no future channel.
It's no secret that unregulated foreign players are driving huge and rapid changes in our marketplace. And the challenge for all of us is to actually match the speed of that change within our own organisations.
In the face of this global competition that we're facing, our industry needs to be freed from the shackles of this archaic pre-digital regulation. We all sincerely believe that change must come.
Well, with Labor opposing axing the 2 out of 3 rule, the Prime Minister and the Communications Minister, Mitch Fifield, calling on the Senate to back their policy, saying it'll benefit the country.
Everything you've heard about the antiquated nature of the media laws we have is absolutely right. These are from not just the olden days, these are from an era that young people in Australia could barely imagine.
Now it's the time for the Parliament to do its part and to seize this historic opportunity to provide support for the Australian media industry to ensure that those strong voices continue.
Well, the key crossbench, Darren Hinch, indicating he'll vote in favour of the changes. One Nation, though, had signalled it would oppose the media ownership restrictions. Indeed, it was noted that neither Pauline Hanson nor Nick Xenophon parties were in attendance overnight. That came from Margin Call today. And to quote, as long as Bill Shorten digs his heels in, it'll be the Queen and King of the Senate who determine this one. Well, let's get the view on this from Danny Bass, CEO at IPG Mediabrands Australia, alongside me today, and then to his right, Andrew Maiden, CEO of Astra. Warm welcome to you both. Just in terms of setting the scene, Andrew, you were there overnight, and that point on the political kind of rubber hits the road issue on the Senate and those two warlords, if we like, or the King and Queen, as they've been styled. Is that really now the end game here? And what are we seeing their attitudes looking like?
Well, the Labor Party, of course, could make itself relevant by deciding to support these changes. After all, it is unprecedented for every media CEO in Australia to agree on these changes. And, of course, not everyone has got everything they want. We, for instance, are pretty disappointed with the degree of anti-siphoning reform. But we took the view that unless we were prepared to agree to a comprehensive package, then no one would get anything. But, look, it does come down to Nick Xenophon and Pauline Hanson. Nick Xenophon is, I think, a little more comfortable with the package. Pauline Hanson has indicated she is not comfortable with the 2 out of 3 change. So
how do you woo that type of a kind of an attitude? How do you shift views, just strategically? I'm keen to sort of understand this.
I think in terms of Pauline Hanson, you know, I'm sympathetic to her concerns about plurality and diversity in media ownership, but, you know, the fact is that the jobs of journalists and media workers, including in regional Queensland, where she has a strong base, are going to be at risk unless these reforms occur, allowing Australian companies to grow in scale and compete with a global market. Well,
to that end, Danny Bass, really, some are saying the horse has bolted. There should have really been a gathering several years ago, because the PM has had this in the in-tray. It just got buried by other issues until now. So where are we at, you know, in terms of your clients, how you see, you know, the gravitating towards the digital space and leaving the traditional media in its wake?
Well, there's no question the laws need to be changed. As the Prime Minister just said, these laws were put together pre-internet age, which even these 15 years ago seems like 500 years ago. We support these changes, and the industry supports these changes. Our clients, media agencies, need a diverse portfolio of media channels. We need strong, local, independent media channels. We need diversity of choice. And we need local media companies to be able to reinvest money into technology, into product, into talent, data analytics, and all the things that keep Australian media where it's always been, punching massively above its weight on the global stage.
So where is it currently failing to fire over? I mean, you talk about that investment in analytics, you know, kind of on a best practice standard. Where do we sit relative to our peers offshore?
Look, Australia is seen as a springboard around the world in terms of launching new product, particularly around technology and data. Google, for some time, have had an innovation hub out of Australia that's gone on to develop some of their best products. The local media channels are coming up against global behemoths in Facebook and Google and some other tech companies, and it's very, very difficult for them to compete under the current terms.
And this is where you kind of get the clash, do you not? Because on the one hand you've lauded Google, on the other, we know the likes of News have quite vociferously pointed out this effective cherry picking and plundering of content without having any social license at the end of the day that goes with it. So. And a lot of the profit shifting that's been pointed out already.
You can object to these laws because you want to maintain diversity in Australia, but if you do that, you'll lose diversity because organisations will just go out of business and jobs will be lost and journalism will suffer and Australia will end up with fewer voices, not more.
Is there a sense, though, as well that, having given the content for free thus far for so long, that it takes the kind of a gathering that, Andrew, you were present at the other night, to say almost, I mean, this does reek of a cartel attitude, but hell, I mean, they exist elsewhere, so if it's good enough for the oil industry, why not the media? Put up those walls tomorrow. Build those firewalls and let no one blink over their installation. Because until that happens, you're going to have leakage, you're going to have this, the rise of the Google untrammeled and Facebook with it.
I mean, the challenge now is people are used to free copy, free editorial, and trying to wind that back. There is no shortage of copy on the internet. I think the industry getting together, I think it's unheralded. So many people who've traditionally fought against each other so viciously coming together. Michael Miller writing, chairman of News Limited, writing a piece in a Fairfax newspaper yesterday. Maybe a few years ago, that
who'd have thought?
Who'd have thought it? So it's extremely serious.
But I mean, does that have to go the next step? I mean, Andrew, to the point on the horses bolted, can you not go back and recast the whole, free versus paid environment if everyone is of the same mind? I mean, what comes next beyond a joint statement? What is the next united offering the media can give us?
The pay and free industry have never agreed on so much. I mean, we have a unity ticket on maybe 70 or 80% of regulatory issues these days. For the reason you identified, we face the common threat, and so we hope we'll be able to achieve this round of regulatory reform, and then we'll come back again next year and the year after because we can't afford not to.
The big challenge is making Google and Facebook change locally. Right. That's not going to happen. Right? The lobby needs to take place in the States. With the greatest respect to the heads of Google and Facebook in Australia, they run a franchise model. Right. Told what to do, how to do it, don't change the menu, keep the tills running. So to expect Google and Facebook to change locally, I think will be a very, very hard thing to do.
Is there any sense of political representation now that you go the next step, heaven forbid, you build out a presence in the Senate yourselves? Has that occurred to the sector? Stand for the Senate.
Look, we think that we have a strong case that is understood by most senators already, actually. I mean, they are increasingly understanding that Australian media needs to be unleashed so that it can compete on a global level playing field. So I think we're we're getting largely to that point without having to take that trip.
Well, let's hope you've got the momentum finally, as you say. Yes, because it was unprecedented, but yes, now for the final push on persuasion of the recalcitrants. We'll move on, but thanking you, Andrew, in particular. Danny is staying with us for some more later on the show, but let's tell you about the recent Women of Style Awards that were held annually by InStyle magazine. Mediaweek's James Manning has been at the very latest to speak with the Fashion Media Brands General Manager, Jackie Frank.
Jackie, we talked to you a fair bit on Sky News Business about the magazine sector. How's it been performing this year?
Oh, look, it's been a tough year. It's a business that we're having to go from being print-centric to being audience-centric, and it seems like we're getting gains in that area.
It seems to be getting beaten up a bit more than it deserves. I mean, you still got some reasonable audiences there. There's new readership figures out this week. Some of the specialist magazines in particular doing very well, but the revenue's certainly dropping a lot faster than any sort of audience clear out, if you like.
Well, exactly. You did say that the audience is there, and the audience is an engaged audience, and it's just for our advertisers to actually recognise that, and that's our job, and that's what we're being challenged to do. I mean, you talk about gains, and you talk about niche publications, but Men's Health, for example, I mean, they've got an enormous readership figure that's just come out. We've all had increases. Our footprints are growing. You know, the interaction with the brand, you know, it's never been in people's hands more often than currently it is.
We've spoken to you in the past too about diversifying revenues, and that was something on your to-do list. What sort of progress have you been making there?
Well, that's a constant, isn't it? You know, whether it's through events like this, you know, our advertisers are looking to engage people in a 360 platform, and that's what we're doing, as well as looking at other opportunities, you know, on a wider scale.
The magazines are operating on cross-platforms now. Is the print product still central to most of them?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the print is where it all sort of began in terms of legacy, and you know, basically what I say is that you've just got to deliver people what they want when they want it on the platform of their choice. But what is really key here is that they are still looking for engaging content, and that's what we know how to do better than any other industry.
Is Pacific doing anything different maybe to any other publishers in terms of that business model of withholding some content, not giving everything away free?
You know, you talk about expanding that revenue stream. In fact, this week we just launched All in 18 for Women's Health, where it's our first online training where you can get fit within 18 minutes. And yes, there's a paywall. You've got to pay for it.
Is there lots of people doing video? How important is video for titles in your group in particular?
Well, video is really important, and in fact, again, this week we launched our new collab studios. So we've actually got the area where we can go and video. We've got fully fledged studios to go and operate in, which is fantastic. I mean, everybody wants to have video as part of their package.
Are you making sort of headways with some advertisers this year? I know you work pretty hard, don't you, going out and presenting sometimes with your teams, because you're a wonderful advocate when you get in front of media buyers. Are you seeing some people maybe returning or holding their spend steady at least? Yeah,
no, I think that once you can engage the client directly and you can talk about, you know, you hear what their objectives are, we can always deliver to those objectives. And so you just need that relationship to be able to communicate and talk to them to find out what is it they want and then show them what we can do. Because some people see us in the legacy way and some people don't. So you've got to actually explain to people what it is that you can now deliver.
Digital's been under a lot of pressure about sort of, you know, what it's really delivering advertisers.
Which is great. I'm so excited about that, I've got to say. Because, you know, they say it's measurable and etc. But the thing is, who is that audience? Where is that audience? What is the value of that audience? How long is that audience being engaged for? All those things need to be asked. I mean, I think that clients need to be really vigorous in looking at what they're getting.
Yeah. What categories have you seen? Any categories stronger than others in terms of, you know, your reps writing revenue?
Yeah, I actually think that the luxury area is pretty strong. You know, they understand the value of creating content, and there's a lot more native content happening in that space than anywhere else. But as well, you know, I'm not across homes, but homes is strong as well. So, you know, it's an interesting time.
And for luxe products, I guess magazines offer something that you can't get in any other media, correct?
Yeah, well, that's exactly. I mean, there's still the luxury of sitting down with a printed product and seeing it on glossy paper. There's nothing like that. And then you get your quick fixes elsewhere. So, for example, for shopping, you go to Style by Marie Claire and you can go on and you get this curation of different looks and you can click to buy straight away. So it just depends. Different things for different people. And luxury plays really well still in the traditional medium of print, but it's also expanding to find out what digital works for them. And I think that e-commerce model is becoming stronger.
You're still up and motivated? You're still enjoying the challenges out there working in this sector?
How do you not enjoy working in this area? Look at us tonight. Audi, fantastic sponsor, a great partner, Women of Style. It's more successful than it's ever been. It's incredible tonight, you know, with all our partners who've got on board, the women that we're engaging with, you know, things like this make it really exciting.
I couldn't help but think of you when I saw Dame Anna Wintour turning up at Buckingham Palace to get her acknowledgement for the work she's done in the sector. Are you open to receiving something if they are? Yeah.
I don't think that's ever going to happen in my lifetime. No. But you know what? I don't do it for that. I love the people that I work with. I love the content that we deal with. I love to also get challenged by our advertisers. I love it to go in and actually surprise them that, hey, this is what we can do for you. And, you know, and that's slowly, you know, it's been a hard slog, but that's what we need to do. We as an industry need to get out, shout from the rafters and show them how engaged our audiences are. That readership is a great measure to show how many people are engaging with us.
Okay, there you had it, Jackie Frank there, Fashion Media Brands General Manager. Let's take a really short break. Still to come, of course, all of the top and bottom performers when it comes to the ratings through the week, plus Danny Bass, CEO, IPG Mediabrands Australia, some insights into expectations for the rest of the year from his perch after this.
Here at Open Agent, we take the stress out of selling your home, helping you find an agent you can trust to sell your home the easy way. And the best part is, it's absolutely free. Simply visit openagent.com.au and type in your postcode to instantly discover agents in your area who have sold homes like yours and know what they sold for. Next, compare agent reviews.
I got 20% more than the original evaluation.
Now that's what I call a stress-free sale. You can also personalise your search with a call to our research team standing by to make your experience even easier. No wonder 60,000 Australians visit Open Agent each month to effortlessly sell their home. Remove the guesswork and let Open Agent do the hard work for you. Sell your home the easy way, the stress-free way, to secure the right agent and best price for your home. Call or visit openagent.com.au.
Cleaning the tub is a back-breaking chore, and you can scrub your tiles, but it always needs more. There has to be an easier way. From the makers of the best-selling Hurricane Spin Mop comes the all-new Hurricane Spin Scrubber, the new cordless and rechargeable power scrub brush that cleans faster and easier. Even these dirty old tiles are no match for Spin Scrubber, blasting right through the grime, sparkly and clean every time. It makes quick work of calcium, soap and hard water stains, clear and clean in seconds. The secret is the rotating brush, spinning at 300 RPM. The incredible torque can bust through any caked-on crud with ease. So forget harsh chemicals, now restore the shine and lustre to any surface in a flash. And you'll never need batteries because it comes with the latest rechargeable technology. Forget bending and straining to clean the tub because you'll get this extension pole free. Now you can easily reach down into the tub to power away stains or into the shower to clean mouldy grout and tiles, even to clean those areas you couldn't normally reach. And we're not done yet. You'll also get this free soft flex comb brush that fits perfectly into corners. There's no easier way to get taps sparkling clean. Also use it to blast away the burnt mess on cooktops, even get into tiny crevices on the fridge door, or best of all, those hard to reach shower door rails. Call Global Shop Direct or go online and order your very own Hurricane Spin Scrubber for the special low price on your screen now. You'll get the complete Hurricane Spin Scrubber system, including the multi-purpose brush, extension pole and the soft cone flex brush, so you'll never miss another hard-to-reach crevice or corner again. You can't completely clean those large surface areas effectively without a flat brush. That's why we're including an extra large flat brush free. Use it around the rusty sink drain or to bust through the dirt on the shower floor. And there's no better way to power through the oven door grime, so it wipes off in no time. The Hurricane Spin Scrubber is the cleaning tool every home needs. But if for any reason you're not satisfied with your purchase, just send it back within 30 days for a full refund of the product price. Nobody likes to get on their hands and knees to clean. Make those hard to reach and even back-breaking chores easy with the Hurricane Spin Scrubber. Order yours now.
Welcome back. Still to come, the very latest stats on ratings through the week. But more with Danny Bass now, head of one of Australia's largest agency groups, IPG Mediabrands, home to the media agencies and Initiative. Welcome back to you, Danny. Just as we eye now the halfway point of the year, critically, there are sort of some known points in the calendar for the industry, not least of all a reassessment on state advertising spend, principally NSW in Victoria. So what's the contestability here? What's at stake, principally?
Well, look, the year has started, we're halfway now, scarily, is what we sort of thought the short-termism is still live in the market, and that's been going for a few years now. That's not great. It adds nervousness to a lot of people. What we're trying to do is give CMOs firepower at the boardroom table. So unfortunately, not many CMOs are at boardroom level anymore. So CEOs, CFOs need to understand the power of marketing. It's an easy thing to cut if you're trying to save money. But what we're trying to do is explain how marketing grows your brand, increases sales, and delivers to the bottom line. So there's a lot of change in the market. There always is. If you look at how the market was 3 years ago to what it is today, it's changed beyond belief. The next 3 will be even more. So a lot of stuff for pitch. And it's a really exciting time for us.
The short-termism, is that showing through in a kind of an unwillingness to embrace the different channels that are increasingly being adopted?
It's just a nervousness. Right. So that doesn't help with trying to build a brand. It's more around, can you give me a return for my money immediately? So where we used to have booking windows of 3 to 6 months, now it might be 3 to 6 weeks.
Interesting.
So marketers, like never before, are under enormous pressure.
Something like the BHP campaign, the Think Big, that has got a certain dollar figure attached to it. I think it was last check 10 million. Now that, I guess, is giving you a bounded duration in the marketplace, yes or no?
That's a well thought through campaign. BHP have been out the market for some time. They obviously feel they need to re-establish themselves in Australian culture. So they have gone all out in branding. It's interesting to see how they've engaged print media, which is fantastic for print media. It shows that they still have a place in connecting with the community. So they should be applauded for firstly coming back into the market, supporting traditional media.
And is it looking the same, say, in the UK, where they have that presence as well? Are they minded to almost apply without too much thought that same approach on multiple continents, or does it get more nuanced as you go into a more kind of dynamic
I think
market
Australia
like the UK?
may have moved away from traditional media quicker than other markets, and maybe there's a correction due with that. The UK still has an incredibly healthy and large TV population, particularly on the big key marquee shows. So they've done really well. But all traditional media anywhere in the world have come under enormous stresses over the past few years.
Well, not least of all Fairfax, the once mighty venerable institution, now currently subject to a very febrile series of talks, approaches via 2 private equity shops. What's your thinking as to how that inevitably might alter the commitment to a certain campaign even by them in the marketplace from an ad perspective?
Look, it would be interesting to see what the motivations are for buying Fairfax. That'll come out in due time. I think stability around making sure the market knows that they're in to support print. For some time there's been a lot of conjecture around, are Fairfax going to close Monday to Friday, it's just the weekend. It'll be good to understand what the future is for Fairfax newspapers, and we need Fairfax newspapers. What they've done with Domain is sensational, and you can see how they've used the Fairfax stable to promote that brand. And I'm sure anyone eyeing up Fairfax is looking at Domain and sort of licking the lips a wee bit. It does show that they see value. Hopefully it's not to strip assets, it's to invest back in the product, and that's certainly something that would be good for Australian media.
Danny, let's have a quick look, see more broadly just what's been rating through this now, week 21, free-to-air. Let's kick off with the top 10 here now. 7 News Sunday, 9 News sort of neck and neck as they want to do. The Voice, again, 7 News at 7. House Rules Sunday, 9 News, 7 Rules Monday. Again, 9 News, The Voice Monday, and 7 News today, tonight. It's kind of one kind of track or two.
Chappelle played a big part in the ratings over the weekend.
Yes, those camera angles, speaking of camera angles, 7 seems to have come out on top, clearly, on those metrics at least. Over to sport, the top 5, it's kind of the tussle between the AFL v NRL, Sydney Hawthorn, Rabbitohs, Storm, Warriors, Broncos, Geelong, Port Adelaide, Richmond, Essendon. Any views on those?
Look, sport continues to perform. It always does perform, and it's a cornerstone alongside news of any network.
Yeah. Now, the top 5 of non-sport, if it's not your thing: Selling Houses, NCIS, Wentworth, The Simpsons, and Grand Design. So for all the talk of housing, you can see it kind of bookends the preferences.
Yeah, there's a massive interest in reality TV and home renos. Always has been.
Yes, in spite of the shakiness, as we like to conjecturise over the fundamentals of the market itself. Danny, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Danny Bass, CEO, IPG Mediabrands Australia, with us this week. Thank you for your contribution. We will look forward to seeing you this time next week on Media Week.